Susie posed an extremely important question to me that many of us wonder about. She says, Steve, how do I go from eating 3 times a day to just 1 time a day? It seems so hard. Please help me. The idea of eating just 1 meal a day may seem difficult to master, or might even sound potentially unsafe for those of us with MS. But take it from me, the benefits are enormous. But still, any form of extended intermittent fasting, which OMAD is going to be challenging, especially for beginners. In the Western world, we are not used to going long periods of time without eating. So eating just once a day may feel futile and pointless. But we have multiple sclerosis. And it wasn't until I started to eat just OMAD that I start to feel real and lasting changes. Hey, it's Steve. I want to talk not about OMAD in general. I want to focus on how you can adopt it and make it a lifestyle. So you might ask, how did I start? How can you do it for yourself? One of the most important and common questions people have in adapting to OMAD is the problem that they want to have an answer to. They feel the temptation, the cravings, and the appetite for a range of foods. But don't get me wrong, I know this is normal. Everyone has these moments. Sometimes on a normal basis, on a daily normal basis. From my own experience, I used to crave sweet foods. Not even sweet foods, things like cookies and sweets and ice cream. I would be thinking of things like trail mix with raisins, as well as a bag of frozen grapes. I mean, how weird is that? Sure, those things are super healthy, but I was focused on stopping my multiple sclerosis and fasting. Not eating any kind of food, no matter how healthy it can be, is the best way to achieve it. Here are my tips I came up with. To fight cravings, I use a simple scale of 1 to 10 self-assessment test. When I was faced with an uncomfortable situation, when I was about to lose focus, when I felt an overwhelming feeling, an urge to grab something, I simply asked this. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, I'm not hungry at all, and 10 being the most intense hunger pains you've ever felt, where am I right now? The reason it's so effective is it creates an honest comparison of the current situation. It expanded my narrow fixation I had on food and let me see the bigger picture. Once I put all of that in perspective, all of a sudden, that panic was gone. And food lost its power to me. That's what they call mental fitness. For you, that's how you can train your willpower. By doing so, you can get more resilient to the majority of cravings that come along the way. The more I did it, the more I practiced, and that practice eventually made me better and my willpower stronger. You've all heard this scenario. You're a 4-year-old sitting at a table. A nice lady puts down a marshmallow on that table. She tells you that she'll be back, and as soon as she does, if you want to, she'll give you a second one as a reward. It's called the Great Marshmallow Experiment. It's a battle of desire, self-control, impulse restraint, and gratification delay. Some kids were able to do it. Others failed miserably. I would have been one of those failures. After decades of following the kids who eventually became adults, common themes appeared. People who can stay focused on what they want without getting distracted by the shiny objects that are on the table in front of them are much more likely to stay on track and accomplish what they want. In our case, it's achieving OMAD. Another great way to make sure you can achieve OMAD and reduce setbacks is by changing your nearest environment. Okay, let's say you're taking a drive. You're on the road. Every time you pass the drive-through or you walk by the kitchen, you're making the decision to stop or not. The more decisions you make, the less cognitive control you have. So in this case, sometimes it's easier to change the environment rather than change the mind. It's like if you're constantly exposed to foods that are tempting at home, if you keep on buying foods that you know will tempt you, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. A long time ago, when I changed my focus away from food and came up with my diet that was relatively mundane and boring, the flashiness went away, and it let my mind shift its focus, and eventually I was able to forget all about food. It's okay to use it to overcome a single obstacle. But if you know the problem is the environment, that's something you can control. I understand that you cannot go out and live alone like me. Everyone loves to lose the sense of time in those conversations sitting around a table, sharing stories with everyone. But the more we do that, the more likely we are able to mimic the rest of the group that are probably not doing OMAD, and eventually you'll end up eating more and breaking OMAD. That's why the next time when you find yourself in a big group setting with other people, try to always eat last. That sounds weird, but it works. It will dramatically reduce your chances of losing focus. We believe more in what our eyes see than our stomachs feel. That's why I use smaller Tupperware and silverware. I use the small spoon, not the big. There's always those two spoons, one big spoon and one small spoon. I take the small spoon. I know exactly what I need to eat every day, regardless of my activity level. But subconsciously, I want to avoid any temptation that might sneak in, even though my diet is the same thing every day. So here's another tip on how to stick to OMAD. And this gets back to kind of what I was talking about, my boring food. You are the one who makes up your own diet. I'm not going to tell you what to eat and what not to eat. I think all food can be good, all food can be bad. But to stick to OMAD, one of the best tips that I found work for me is reduce the variety of foods. I basically have lettuce, oatmeal, beans, chicken, whey powder, milk, and that's basically it. Oh, and lettuce. Did I say lettuce? I don't remember. This phenomenon is called sensory specific satiety, refers to declining satisfaction of food generated by the same types of food, and the inclining satisfaction of food generated by exposure to a new flavor or food. This means if you just eat two things over and over again, your appetite will diminish almost immediately. So, in other words, we get bored. If you sample all different kinds of food, your appetite shoots up, and you'll end up always craving more and always being hungry. And always being hungry does not work for OMAD. By simply reducing the variety of food, it makes it appear food is not all that exciting. So to stick to OMAD, always look at both sides of the coin. What can you do to make your willpower stronger and more robust? When an unexpected situation comes, I promise you, you will be prepared and you won't crack under the pressure. You can organize your own environment in a way that will support you rather than tempt you. I know, it's tough that multiple sclerosis is so closely tied to food, but it is what it is. Thank you, Susie. Thank you for asking me. I've been waiting for someone to ask that question. I want to hear from you guys. Leave me a comment. What are your tips to make sure you stick to OMAD? I've covered everything I think works for me. So I'm looking to you guys. What works for you? Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a video. Until the next one.